All right, so we are still in Hugging Faces, and one thing we didn't do is work with any data sets. I don't work with these very often, but sometimes you need them when you are trying to do training. I recognize Smalltalk as a data set that I've seen before. I don't know what the data set is. Let's go take a look here. And it says, this is a synthetic data set designed for supervised fine-tuning of LLMs. It was used for small M2 instruct, okay? So yeah, data sets are something that you can load in, okay, and then you would use for training. I don't know. I mean, there's probably like a really easy data set that we can use. Let's go over back to Gemini. Where are you, Gemini? Do I still have you kicking around here? We'll say Gemini. It's crazy that Google tried charging for this initially, and obviously they have the Flash model now, so they went back on that. But I want to use a very simple data set in some kind of example for Hugging Face. And so this is something that we should give a go. Okay, and so here, I mean, this is a small data set. Okay, but I want to use an existing data set, not upload one. But at least it's telling us that we could do it, which is fine. Mm-hmm. Okay, but it doesn't seem to know of a basic one. Mm-hmm. So here we have, you might need to pre-process the data set before a specific task. So this could involve tokenization, feature extraction, stuff like that. You can use this fine-tune BERT for questioning and answering. So this might be something that we could do. I don't really like what it's giving us for examples. I'm going to go over to Claude AI. Okay, so I'm going to say, I want to train, or I want to use a small data set to train, pre-train BERT to do Q&A using Hugging Face data sets. Can you give me a small code example? Can you give me a code example that will run on a small amount of CPUs? That's not the best worded, but I have a feeling that Claude might perform this a little bit better. Not to say that Google Gemini is bad, it was fine, but it's just like, I need something more concrete. And you know, we're seeing this squad thing again, so maybe that is a data set, and this one's giving us version 2. So go over to here. I'm not familiar with squad, but so it says Stanford question answering data set. Okay, well, that makes sense. And so here we have title Beyonce. When did Beyonce become a star? And then here's the output. So we're getting example data. So that's pretty clear. Okay, so let's go give that a go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring back our environment here. This was the one I was running just a moment ago in Lightning AI. Again, we can use whatever we want. I'm just using Lightning AI here today. But because we're going to do some super fine tuning in a very basic model with BERT, I figured that this will be fine just using as CPUs. I could probably do this on my computer or on my Mac, but I'm going to go ahead and give this a go here using Claude's code. Sorry, Gemini. I mean, Gemini's looked okay. I just I'm not sure about it. So here, it doesn't say like how much we would need. So I'm gonna go here. So like, how much CPU and memory would we need? I really don't know. So this is where like if I asked my friend Rolla, she'd know like right off the top of her head. So it says minimum 2 CPUs, 4 to 8, 8 to 16. Training time 1 to 2 hours on four small. I need to train something in 15 minutes. Okay, what do I need to do? What can I do for this? Okay, for a 50-minute training window. Okay, that sounds great. Now it's suggesting squad. And that's just a different data set, I suppose. So I'm not sure if it really matters if it's squad or squad version 2. Let's take a look at this one. And so the data is a little bit different. This is 87 rows. This one's 130,000 rows. So this data set's a little bit smaller. And we'll go back over to here. And so this one here is for a 15-minute one, use fast distilled BERT. So you're going to see this term a lot, distill. So what is distill? Because it just means like they've done something in the model to make it smaller, distill models. The process of transferring knowledge from a larger model to a smaller one. Okay, so it's, yeah, distilling. That makes sense. And this one says fast. So yeah, using distill is 40% smaller, 60% faster, reduce data set to 100 training examples, and things like that. So yeah, this one's greatly reduced. Okay, so what I want to do is go back over to here, and it's suggesting it can train within 10 to 15 minutes. Okay, that sounds a lot more reasonable. So I'm going to go ahead here and say new, say HF datasets. And again, not a super expert at this stuff, but you can see we're getting by pretty well. And right now we're in VS Code. We could go to Jupyter Lab if that's what people prefer here. I think I'm going to switch over to Jupyter. I'm indecisive. I switch between both of them all the time, but I think I'd rather do this in Jupyter here today. And so, again, if my friend Rolla was here, when she talks about models, she might say like, hey, you don't always need an LLM. You can use a smaller model like BERT. And that's what we're doing right now. But we'll say Hugging Face dataset, Hugging Face dataset here. I'm going to go back over to here, and I'm going to bring in some of our code. We're going to have to do a pip install on this. So we're going to have to bring in pip install, we'll do -q to silence it. We'll have to bring in transformers and datasets. Okay, we'll go ahead and install those. We will need some of our other code from before. So I'm going to also bring in python.env. Okay, we'll run that. And I also need this code here. So I'll bring that in as well, which I'll bring above here. Sometimes you have to restart, not always, but here we are going to bring in data sets and then a bunch of stuff for the transformers. And so, I mean, the rest of the code looks okay. Not that I'm an expert, but we will work through it here and see how far we get. And so I'm just going to bring this down. I'm going to just make a few of these. And we'll bring that here, and then we'll just start dragging this up. I know it looks really complex, but sometimes... And by the way, if you're like, Andrew, I'm not getting the same code, again, you could just grab this from the repo because I'm going to drop it in there after this. But I'm grabbing this stuff up here. This function is really large. Okay. And then we'll read through it and we'll see if we can kind of make sense of it. Oops. I'm not sure why I did that. Grabbed it again. My keyboard was kind of messing up there. And I think the last one, yeah, we'll bring it in a separate one. Who cares? Okay. So now that it's broken up, it's a little bit more controlled and we can kind of see what's going on here. So the first thing is we have, we need to load our libraries. Then we have load the data set. So it's bringing the data set in and we're saying only provide the first 100 examples. And then we need a evaluation data set to make sure that things have worked correctly. So we'll do that. Load the smaller model and tokenizer. So we have the model name from pre-trained models. Remember we loaded a direct model before, so that's exactly what we're doing here. Could there be a pipeline for this? I don't know, maybe. So it says some weights were not initialized for the models. You should probably train the model on a downstream task to be able to use it for prediction inference. That's what we are doing. That's our goal. Simplified pre-processing function. So pre-processing means it's going to do something to our data and prepare it. So here we're providing the examples. Okay, we're getting the questions, we're getting the context. We're tokenizing the inputs because the model requires the data to be tokenized. What's it doing here? It has the inputs and it's looking at the offset mapping. It's finding the token indices. And it's putting the start and end tokens. I know that we keep getting errors about like start and end tokens, so maybe it has something to do with that. Like errors prior, like that having start and end tokens are important in your tokenization process. So this looks like it's just taking the data and getting it ready for input. That's what it's doing. Okay. So now we have process the data set. So we have the data set. We're going to map, so iterate over it. We're providing the preprocess function that we defined here. And so it's going to format the data, and that's what it's going to do. Okay, it's putting into batch size 2 here. We'll go down below. Batch length 71 does not match text pair 697, so I'm not sure what to do about that. We'll go ask Claude, because I don't know enough about the configuration to make a fix for that. It might be its preprocessing function. Isn't handling the batch inputs correctly. Okay. I'd rather it just give us that, but it didn't do that. And so we'll go here. And I think we just have to grab the preprocess function here, preprocessing function. But this one looks a bit different here. It says batch 32. Okay, so I'm going to go up here. And I can't tell what's changed. I would have rather just had the things that changed. And then we'll go to here. And I'm just going to change this to this. Like this. Okay, and I'm going to hope that that's all that's changed. Again, just kind of guessing based on what I'm reading. This is our old, no, that's our evaluation data set. I'm going to see if that one's changed at all. This one has changed as well, so I'm going to go ahead and change that. I'm also going to just scroll up here, see if any of this data has changed above. Nope, these are still the same, I believe. So those are fine. I don't know if the training arguments have changed. I don't know if we've gotten there yet. Since I don't know, I'm just going to grab the latest one here. Let's see here. Yeah, nothing's changed. I'm going to leave the one with the comments in. I prefer that. And so it's prepared our data set. We'll do this one. And now we're ready to train. So let's go ahead and train our arguments. What's the problem? Using the trainer PyTorch requires accelerator, etc. Please install transformers torch. Okay, and so it's asking for that very specific version. I'm going to just bring this down. I'll just put it here. Cancel. We'll just save this file, and I'm going to go ahead and run it again. That's fine. We might have to restart, which is kind of annoying, but I'm going to try this anyway. And it says, please run transformers or pip install accelerate. So maybe what I should do, I just don't trust this. I'm going to bring this down a line. Because we do have, well, it's not, it doesn't say torch here, but we'll go ahead and just do this on a new line here. I'm going to run this again. No match is found for transformers torch. You may need to restart the kernel to update the packages. I'm going to go restart this again. Sorry. And actually, I think we're supposed to take this one out and have this one in here instead. So I'm going to take this one out. And yeah, I'm just saving this. So we're going to run this one. This one's fine. I'm going to run that one. No matches found for this. That's kind of annoying. I have used Torch's transformers like that before. I'm going to go ahead and put that in there. I didn't want to get the code sample there, but we'll see what it says. So you need to install Torch. Okay, so that's what it wants. Fair enough. I didn't think I would have to do that here, but that's totally fine. So we'll go ahead and try this. Like, it's probably already pre-installed. Nope. We'll try this one here. Restart. No matches found. This one's annoying. So I'll run this again, and then this one again. It's kind of annoying because I'll have to re-prepare my data here. Not that it took very long. But I'll do this one, and then this one. I'm going to go to the top and just run all. And this stuff is tricky, right? Like, I know this exists as a package. But yeah, now we're getting a little bit better results here. So now we're here, down below. Is it going to say the same thing? Using the trainer. Okay, so Transformers PyTorch does not exist. It's just saying it doesn't exist. Okay, like, do I have to install something else maybe? Okay, let's just look up the library then. Transformers Torch. Okay, how do I install Transformers Torch when it says no matches found? During your counting, no match found error when installing Torch. It often indicates compatibility between Transformers library and PyTorch. Yeah, that's fine. Because then we'd have to create our conda environment. That's kind of a pain. Pip install Transformers Torch. So this is where it's tricky because like I don't have. I guess we could create a new conda environment. We could do that. This is kind of annoying. So what I'll do, I'm going to go over to terminal here. I did this in one of our other boot camps or something. We did it somewhere. I'm just going to go get the code because I can never remember how to do it off the top of my head. But it's in the GenAI training, full day training day. Not that one. We'll go to Exam Pro here. I'm going to go over to repositories. We'll just say GenAI. That's our GenAI training day workshops. And in here, in our intermediate one, we were setting up a Jupyter environment. And so this is the way you do it manually, right? So I'm going to go over here, and Conda's already activated, I believe. And so I need to just create myself a new environment. So I'm going to bring in this one here. It says Open Vino, but we're going to switch that out here in just a moment. So I'll paste that in here, and I'm just going to switch this over to HF Datasets. Okay. Conda create is not allowed. A studio has a default Conda environment. Start a new studio to create a new environment. And so that's what it's telling us to do. So that kind of makes sense. So I'm going to go ahead and try Conda C Conda Forge. And I'm going to say install Transformers Torch and see if that works. It's not exactly what I want. Oh, -C Conda Forge. Okay, so -C. No, I did that. Conda Forge. Okay, so I'm going to try this. Ask it, like, why does it think this doesn't exist? Because if that's what it's using for installation, that could be our issue. Oh, force. It's supposed to be Conda Forge. Sorry. 1 second. But that's still not working. So we go back over to here. We'll try this. So like Conda Forge is where the file's coming from, right? So say Conda Forge. If we chose to install it that way, because underneath it's using Conda as a single environment. And so here we should be able to explore the Forge. Oh, we can't? Okay. Like a lot of package managers will let you search. Maybe here, like Transformers. But I thought maybe there'd be like a list of packages like here. Yeah, here we go. So let's say Transformers. And so we have Transformers here, but I don't have one Transformers Torch. Though I'm not really sure what the square braces do. I thought maybe like that would be a separate package. Conda install transformers torch. How do I do that? All right, I'm going to spend a little bit of time figuring it out. I'll be back in just a moment, okay? I mean, it doesn't help very much, but here, like, they're showing it with a Python environment. Install from source. Install with Conda. Here we go. Install from the Conda channel, Conda Forge. Okay. But all right, that's fine. I can give this a go. No matter what environment we use, we're going to have different challenges. So if I did this locally or somewhere else, it's always just kind of a pain. But I've installed transformers torch before with having no issues. We'll run this line and we'll see what happens. And it's doing something, so we'll give it a moment here, okay? All right, so it finished executing that. I'm not sure if that's going to help us. Let's go take a look here and see what happens. No matches found. No matches found. Okay, so we'll do pip install transformers. I don't know if we even have pip installed here, but we'll try this. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. How am I supposed to get this to run? Okay. Let me figure it out. Oh, by the way, pre-trained models download to here. Okay, so I was saying earlier I didn't know where they are. It's telling us right there. That's where they go. Okay, so one thing it's suggesting, it says, for CPU support only, you can conveniently install transformers in a deep learning library in one line. For example, install transformers with PyTorch with this. Okay, so are they suggesting that if I don't want to use CPUs? Well, down below here it says transformers with TensorFlow 2. Okay. But I can't specify any of these things. It's really annoying. Let's go back over to here. Okay, so let's read this carefully. So, future warning is deprecated and will remove inversion, etc. No CUDA is deprecated here. So for CPUs, that's what we're doing here. Where does it say no CUDA? We don't have any no CUDA here. Oh, it's right here. Okay, so no CUDA. So it says it will be removed in version 5. Use CPU instead. Okay, so we'll do this. Use CPU to true. Let's try that instead. That's not our problem per se. Using the trainer with PyTorch requires accelerate. 0.602. Okay, so let's go back over here. I'm going to do pip list or pip show accelerate. Okay, so pip install accelerate. Or maybe we'll just do conda install accelerate. Can we do that? Pip install accelerate. Let's try that. So that's installing. It's installing version 1.20, which is not exactly the version we want, but we can give it a go and see what happens. Also, I don't know if we have to import it anywhere here. We didn't necessarily import it anywhere. I can give this a run here and see what happens. I'm going to restart the kernel just one more time. And so we'll try this again. And this is what it's like. You're just goofing around constantly trying to get it to work. It says module pi arrow lib has no attribute pi 8 bool. And all I can think of is that because we've installed the new the transformer stuff, so we're getting issues here. I can go back over to here. Let's see if it can answer it. Because like, how would I know? How would I ever know how to do this? The error occurs when an outdated version of Pyro is being utilized. Okay, we'll try this. If for whatever reason this environment doesn't work, we can just kill it and then bring up another one. So we'll restart the kernel again. Restart kernel. And we'll try this again. It could be that I installed a much newer version of Accelerate that might be causing the issue. I don't know. That one's having no problem now. That one's having no problem now. That one is not a problem because we're going to train it. We have our preprocessed function, right? Which is fine. We're going to hit play on the next one, play on the next one. And now we're on to training. And we get a different error. So that's a bit better. So it says, feature warning, evaluation strategy is deprecated will be removed. Transformers use eval strategy instead. Evaluation strategy, which is where? Here. It will be removed. Transformers use eval strategy. Okay, so this is now eval strategy. It made it look like that worked. So we're going to run this again. Now we have no errors. Do you see how I got this to have no errors? The question is, will it work? That's a different question. We'll go ahead and hit this. This is going to actually do the training. How the heck did it train that fast? I have no idea. We'll go ahead and do this. Here it's dumping the model right here. So, if we wanted to put this somewhere else, we could put it and say like in our models. So sorry, the training is really happening here. We could have brought this one up here and put it with this line. That probably would have made more sense. But it's training, it's going very quickly. The question is, how do we use the model now? So like, how do we use our trained model? Because I don't know how. Like, can we use a pipeline? So here, and we're out of free messages. That's fine. I could always wait till tomorrow, or like we have other ones we can utilize here, but this one seems okay. Like we could probably get by with this. And so this is now completely trained. So now what I want to do is I want to load this model. Okay, so here, this is where we load the model. Right, so we'll go here. And then it returns those two things, right? So I'll go ahead and run that. And then we actually have our Q&A. So bring this here. There's probably a way that we wouldn't even have to use any functions, so we'll do this. Let's take a look at this code. So it takes in the tokenizer, which we have over here. It takes in the model, right? And we have our question or our context. So in our tokenizer, we're passing our question and context, and we're tokenizing our inputs, or like our information, our question or our context to get back our inputs. I'm not sure what this does. Get model predictions. Okay, that makes sense. Find and start the end positions. I don't know why we need to do that, but that's okay. Convert token positions to string. Okay, so I don't fully understand it, but like I kind of do. But we'll go to the next one here. And so the part that we care about is this code. So we'll grab this here. And since we're doing this all, they don't know that we're doing this in a notebook. That's why they're giving us functions and stuff. Okay, so here we load the model. We have our context, who created Python, and then we can see if it works. So run it. Torch is not defined. Sure, we will import torch way up here. Let's go on a new line here, import torch. There we go. We'll go all the way back down to the ground. And we'll run that. And look at that. So we have who created Python, 1991. So that's pretty cool. So we were able to use BERT, and we trained it, right, with a data set. Yeah, I think, again, if I show my friend Rolla, she'd be proud of me for using a smaller model. But yeah, that's what we had to do there. But you can see there was a lot of little things that we had to do to get that to work. I'm going to download this. I'm going to bring this into our repo, wherever this is. And so if you need the code that will work, just understand that you're going to get different results on different things. And in the future, it just might not work because these things break really easily. You have to have confidence to try to work through these things and get them to work. So say datasets example, Hugging Face. Okay. Is there anything else to show in Hugging Face? Probably. There's so much in here. But what I'd probably do is go to docs here. Transformers. I haven't really used diffusers. Oh, I'm sorry. I have used diffusers, not just Hugging Face diffusers, and that's for image generation. So maybe we'll look at it. There's also Transformers.js, state-of-the-art machine learning for the web. I think that is just a wrapper, I believe. We have PEFT, which is for parameter efficient fine-tuning, which we might do later. We have TGI, which we might do later. We have Optimum, which we will definitely do later. We have Evaluate. So there's a lot of these things. I think we're just going to come back to these when we need them, because there's just so much, right? So, I mean, that it probably gives you kind of an idea of how to start working with Hugging Face. So hopefully that is pretty clear. We didn't show you how to upload or push your own models or stuff like that. I'm not really worried about that right now. But yeah, there you go. That is Hugging Face.